Welcome back, everyone. Today we're talking about raising prices, how to attack that. We're talking about how to not want to freak out.
Yep.
And then we're going to dive a little bit into building a clientele.
Fun.
Yeah, should be a good time. Welcome back to the Hello Hair Pro podcast. My name is Todd, and I'm here with my wife and business partner, Jen.
Hello.
Hi. This episode is brought to you by our friends at PingPong Design and Marketing. If you want to love your website again, or you want a new website, or you need someone to analyze your website and check it out for you, need a marketing campaign, check out PingPong Design and Marketing. They want to make the internet a better place with websites and marketing campaigns that inform and convert. That's their mission, and that's what they do. They're good at it.
Yes,
PingPong is not just for hair pros, but the entire health, beauty, and fitness industries. And check out our show notes where they have a special offer for our listeners, which is super cool. Thank you very much. On to the show. And we're starting with...
Let's do this.
Yeah.
My throat is scratchy, guys, so I'm sorry.
That's okay. I had the cough podcast or whatever when you told everyone that you couldn't catch COVID through a microphone or whatever you fuck you said.
In case they were worried.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, so when every time we talk about pricing, I don't know why it's such a polarizing topic in this fucking industry.
I can tell you from my own perspective, and I've been doing this, as we all know.
No other industries have trouble. They just raise their prices.
It makes me want to throw up every time. I have anxiety over it when you say, not obviously. So of course, I or anyone in this industry, you want to make more money, but generally, I think a lot of people could probably relate to this. Your first thought is you're going to go in to your meeting with your boss, or depending on if you're like an employed stylist, commission stylist, and you're not going to ask to raise your prices. You're going to ask for more commission. Because it's easier for you to get the money from the business than it is to to try to work towards something.
Oh, no, I don't know if that's true. I don't think people think that way. I've had conversations where people, and the conversation is, why would I give you X of my money from a commission employee?
Yeah, they have that backwards.
Yes.
But
yeah. So I think a lot of it comes from wanting to make 100% of the money. That's where the mindset, I'm the one doing the work.
Which no matter what.
Which you're not.
Even if you work for yourself, you're not making 100% of the money.
No.
You have to pay taxes. You have to do, that's another whole episode. Or maybe not. I don't know. But I think there's people don't want to have the conversations. Their mindset, they might not be confident in their work. I think there's so many things. I've gotten really good over the last few years at getting better at that conversation and almost understanding that if they're raised, understanding if my prices are raised at the right time, mathematically, all of these things fall into place, that I can take the worry out of the conversation, because I understand that some people will drop off and they're supposed to. Right. And I will then get new clients at that new price point, but also mathematically with the increase and those few leaving, I will still be in the win zone of increasing my paycheck in that sense. But that took me a while to wrap my mind around it, even though I preached it for life when I've owned salons, but I still myself would not trust the process or doubt that math worked, but it does.
Yeah, it does work. So a couple things. I think there are a few metrics you want to consider when you're raising your prices, and you really don't want to ignore math. And I feel like those are the two things that people don't have a grip on. Even when we speak to our staff, I don't think I've ever had somebody bring up, any sort of metric.
Correct.
It's just, how do I get more money? Which is fine, because I can explain it to them. Mm-hmm. But that shows me that people aren't coming, not that they're not coming prepared, but maybe they don't even understand what they're supposed to be looking at.
Yeah.
And I think that, we just had this conversation with one of our staff, and I think it all made sense. Mm-hmm. We broke everything down. Here's what you want to look at. Here's what could happen. We laid out different scenarios and went from there. But I think ignoring math is reckless.
I couldn't agree more.
I don't
like it's just, it has to be talked about. And actually the staff member you're speaking to came like, I want to raise my prices, and understandably, but let's show you what we look at, and let's look at this full picture. And once we explained that, it was like, oh, that makes sense. Holy crap. And it's not just raise your prices. It's, hey, it's a promotion because you
kick ass.
You've done all this stuff.
You deserve to make more money.
And she was even like, oh, I love that promotion. And like, yes, because you hit these metrics, it makes sense. Now, you and I talk all the time. Like, there are the old school ways of like, if you don't hit this metric, you don't get it.
Yeah, just so people are clear out there, we're not talking about anything to do with like a retail fucking percent or anything to do.
And nothing
with
has to be like, it has to be 72% or you don't get it. It's just,
no.
there's some variables of you need to be in this percent range of certain things, and then it makes sense to have the conversation. So when she came in to say, hey, I want to raise my prices, hold up, we got to look at a few things. Let's circle back and see what we're playing with, if this conversation should even be happening yet.
So we offer our staff the choice to sort of set their own pricing. That doesn't mean it's a free-for-all. So anybody listening might be like, wow, the staff just raises their prices.
No.
They do, but it's like we heavily coach them, so they know.
Well,
so
yeah,
that
and
they're when they have their promotion and raise their price, they know exactly why.
Yes, they have the freedom to come to us. Hey, I want to raise my prices, and some people you have that conversation over, like, let's look at these things. Like, oh, okay, I'm not there yet. All right, I understand what I have to do. Okay, got it. But it's not just like, they're like, oh, I guess I'll just keep doing what I'm doing. Like, no, like, this is where we need to be.
Right.
We explain that. So they've got that, they feel like they're part of what we're doing. They're part of our business. You know, they're really,
of course,
they're really engaged in it. Yeah.
And we want everyone to be happy.
For sure. And we also want them to keep growing in a very positive manner.
And it's our job as the owners to protect our team.
Agreed.
And that is something that's been part of our mission from the jump. It was always like, how do we create this salon? And obviously we want it to do the things we want it to do for us as owners. And obviously you want your clients to be happy, or you really got nothing. But what we understand, and we've understood for a while, is that you're not getting anywhere without a team.
Correct.
So we wanted to make our experience at our salon very much team focused. And I'm not talking about team building and trust falls and stupid shit. I'm talking about our team is actually involved in their decision-making process.
Yep.
Or in our decision-making process. One of the things you said about clients leaving, I want to point out, because, excuse me, is people leave, clients leave. When you raise your prices, you want some to leave.
Yeah, you do. You need to make room for new energy,
higher paying clients. And they might leave for all sorts of reasons. It doesn't matter. We don't need to get into it. But I mean, it even breaks down to, you know, people move sometimes.
Yeah.
And you lose clients. So with that in mind, you always want to be getting new clients. We did the Books Closed show, didn't we?
Yes.
Yeah, you don't want to ever be that.
No.
It makes it really hard to raise your prices, really hard to maneuver.
Yeah, and in this industry, I mean, if you're just doing the same thing on everybody or the same every time, again, I talk
probably not in the position to raise your prices.
I just said even the word energy, like you're not getting new energy and like new ways to like grow. Like the point of new clients, and I've talked to many stars, like I don't like taking new clients, you know, it stresses me out. And I can understand that mindset, but through that uncomfortable part, you're growing,
right?
And you need that. Yeah. That's what really should start to spark that creativity of why you're doing it. Reminds you what a consultation looks like. It reminds you of all of these things while you're here, and you need those new people, in my opinion, to drive you to the next level, to keep you relevant in this industry and relevant behind your chair.
Agreed. So, raising prices, some of the things we look at and these could be different for you and your business. I don't know what your setup looks like. We want somebody, and we don't even have to get into the specific percents, but we want somebody to have their schedule around a certain percent. Maybe it's 70, maybe it's 80. It depends on the situation. Mm-hmm. And then we want them to have that for like a little bit of time. So if you say come out of school and your schedule fills in, like that's cool. That could be luck.
Mm-hmm.
Like that those might not be your clients until you see them again.
Right. That's why you have to look at it over a certain period of time. Mm-hmm. And then we also look at, out of those clients, where's your rebook percentage too? Like
I just said rebook.
You did?
Booking. Yeah.
Jeez.
Oh. I just said if you're not seeing them again, you should have coffee.
I know you said seeing them, and that means
you haven't seen them again.
They might come back in, but there's a difference between, there's those clients that are loyal, they don't rebook, but the ones that are really, really loyal to you are like rebooking in that schedule. They're not like, I'll just call you later and they come back in.
Gotcha. And again, there are certain circumstances depending on, like, I don't know how far out you look. Some, like, you want to put 3 months on it, put 3 months on it. But like, what is your client base? What are you offering? And we're going to get into building a clientele in a second or whenever. Maybe you do so for me, I see people every 4 weeks.
Right. So your metrics, you'd be able to really see where you're at in
if I look
probably
out,
a smaller amount of time.
Right.
For me, if colors are more like 8, 10, 12 weeks.
Then that's what you want to look at. And then,
right.
And then maybe double that.
Another right? Like
so it's,
run of that. Yes.
So whatever, it depends, I think, on the services that you're doing, because it depends, that directly impacts when the people are coming back in, right. Like that cyclical.
So having said that, as an owner, you're going to have different conversations. I know a lot of business, they're just black and white. This is how we look at it, whatever.
Oh, this isn't fucking black and white, though.
But so in this case, when to raise your prices is going to be an individual, different conversation with each one of our staff. They're not all treated or created equal in this, because they all
different
have
human beings.
different metrics that are going to work for them, and different time periods even that was going to make raising their prices the best way to go for them.
Agreed. Yeah, this is a very, very, individual thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think if you grasp a couple of things where I was going with the people leaving, it makes it easier to raise your prices. So I know people freak out, but I don't think you have to freak out.
I know. I agree.
By saying,
not everyone's going to leave you at the same time. No. That's never going to happen. And I don't know why we think that. It's not real life.
I challenge, if anybody's ever had 100% of their clients leave,
it's not a thing.
Then reach out to us, because I want to interview you. I've never heard of that.
Yeah.
Everyone thinks it's going to happen, but it doesn't. So if you look at a couple other things too, and you don't have to be as big of a fucking geek as I am, but if you look at how consumers behave, so your clients coming into your business, they're consumers, right? They're consumers of yours. So they fall into this category. And what will they tolerate? Last I checked, consumers will tolerate a 15 to 20% increase in services or goods.
Mm-hmm.
So there you go. Now, does that mean you can't push that? Nope. Because we've smashed that number. And
again, you just need to understand what you're doing if you're going to push the boundary.
Right.
What does that look like for you?
Right. So I don't want to get into exacts, but we had a couple of situations where we eliminated discounts at the same time as a price increase, and it ended up being like a 400% increase for somebody, which is wild.
Mm-hmm.
And the people were like, okay. Right? Nobody's happy to get a bigger bill.
Right.
But you have a conversation with someone, treat them like a human being, and then let them decide. Don't decide for them.
That's the biggest thing. I think there's a pause there, and some people will go home and try to understand what's going on. Process, thank you. Some are going to process right in front of you and ask you questions, and just because they're asking you questions, you don't be reactive to that. They're just processing it right there with you. I find for myself,
if they're asking questions and they're engaged, that's a good thing. They're
very much so.
They might just be trying to work out their budget.
Yeah. Like, okay, could I go and I come in every 6 weeks? If I stretch to 7, then this works for me. Like, yeah, for sure.
Right.
There's so many ways to help this become almost where it's fun almost because you can still take care of them. So for me, when I go into a price increase, I pretty much know a few things. Like that person, if they can stretch it out, I'm going to be like, oh, we could do this for this. We could do this for your appointments. Like I have a couple ideas of maybe what would work for them. But I also, the pause part is really important. Like they might not need any of that stuff. And they're just like, okay, cool. Can I rebook for 6 weeks or whatever? But one of the things you can do too is if your price increase, you're like, I know obviously some people are going to leave, figure out who they would fit well with in your salon, like support your team and you're still taking care of that client. Like I had some clients that were just like, this just isn't going to work for me. And I'm like, totally fine. Like I think so-and-so would be a great fit for you. I'd love you to still be here. And I'd love for you, I can still see you. And they're like, oh, okay, that would be amazing. So there's so many ways that can.
Right. And you just solved a problem for them.
Yeah.
That's all people want, just solve problems for them.
Yeah. And you can help, keep your salon still growing, help your other teammates, and really still help that client at the same time.
Very cool.
And then still see them.
So what are some practices that people could run through to not want to freak out? Or somebody commented on our stories, not want to throw up. I want to throw up when I raise my prices.
So I think the first is to look at the metrics, right?
No, I think, so for me, and I'm just picking here, but I think first is to realize that it's okay to feel how you're feeling.
I love that, actually. Yes.
That now we can get to work.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like, you're a normal human being. Mm-hmm. You have emotions. There's some fear.
And growth will come out of this uncomfortable time.
Yeah, you might feel some overwhelm. You might have some anxiety, whatever happens.
The coolest part,
those are all very normal thing. Your fucking hands might shake when you explain it to you have that client that's going to look at you and stare right through your fucking soul the whole time. And they love you, but it's just their face.
Yeah.
And then you're going to be shaking.
And when you get the wins,
and everything's going to be fine.
You feel so amazing and you feel like you're like, I don't know, like you're worth everything you're doing. And it's very cool.
Agreed.
So I think I love the feel what you're feeling because you're right. Like that is part of it. And that is totally fine. I think that's the biggest
part because when you look at yourself and you're like, everything I'm experiencing is normal.
Yep.
Oh, all right.
Very, very, very normal.
Okay.
And then if you understand
so bad, right?
the metrics and you've worked it out, and if you need help with that, we're here. Book a coaching call with us. We can help you lay out that plan for you. But if you've done all that, then now you have the confidence. You know how you're feeling, and that's totally fine, but you have the confidence and you have real life like numbers to know, no, this is time for me. I should be doing this now.
I think another strategy that people can employ here is role playing.
Yes.
We've done this a lot with our team because it's very easy to over explain. And I think in this industry, we tend to be a type that over explains.
I would agree.
And no one fucking cares. Just cut my hair.
Stop talking. Bite your tongue if you have to.
So what we do is we recommend just being upfront and blunt, right? Not rude, but...
less is more here.
Yeah. So if your client... who do we got today?
Susie.
So you're like, hey, Susie, I just wanted to let you know that I got a promotion. And next time you come in, the price is going to be $200. You don't have to say that.
Susie doesn't care that it's because your foils cost more, your color went up.
Oh my God, yeah, I wasn't even thinking that shit.
She doesn't give a fuck.
She doesn't need an economics lesson. Yeah. She doesn't need any of that stuff. Just tell her what the price is, and then it's on her as the client to decide.
Do what she wants with that information.
Yeah.
I can tell you this, the first thing you could do, this is the easiest one.
What can you tell us?
The easiest way to raise your prices, eliminate all the discounts. So if you have a haircut that's at $20, that's at $30, that's at $40. If your haircut price is $40, make everyone's haircut $40. Start there and treat everybody the same. Whatever your prices are, don't grandfather people in. Oh, I don't know if they can afford it. Get all your
grandfathering is the stupidest thing.
I know, but it's a thing, right? So get all your prices leveled. If your price for a partial foil is $65, everyone that gets a partial foil is $65. Everyone.
Mom.
And if
Dad,
that makes you not feel comfortable, then you need to reevaluate your prices. So eliminate all the different weird pricing you have in there. If your toner is $20, everyone that gets a toner, you charge them $20. You don't charge half and then the other half. So start charging across the board. Then you can talk about actually increase to those prices.
Right. We went through that with a coaching student, and
Yes.
she had massive success.
She eliminated discounts and did a increase.
She did
and
both, yeah.
at the same time.
That's right, and it worked out
amazing,
splendidly.
Splendidly.
Well, all she needed to do was clean a few things up and get that stuff in order, and she did, and her clients have been overwhelmingly supportive.
Yeah, and the discount conversation was so great. She's like, yeah, why am I doing that? Like, everybody, it's not fair to the person that is paying.
It's almost like
I don't know why I'm doing
our
that.
culture.
It is. That's why I say that. If you can eliminate
Certain
that.
people get discounts for what?
When you
Why?
get off listening to this podcast, right away, figure out how to eliminate your discounts and give the price is the same for everybody that sits there. Start there.
Yeah.
It'll clear your
head. If you
want
to, yeah. Look, I love helping people out, but we help in a lot of different ways, and we help in ways that keep our business lined up and organized. You know? So we donate a lot.
Yes.
We give away a lot. And it's great. It makes us feel good.
Yeah, I love doing that.
But it can't just be based on, well, this person is new, so they'd get $10 off. And this person just has always paid that because I just forgot to change their price in the system. Or what? I've heard that.
Yeah, I know.
Or this person is on a fixed income, so I can't charge them anymore.
I was the stylist. I did all of these things, and it is freeing of your mind when you treat everybody the same and get your prices level. Like, it's amazing. It allows you to just be creative behind the chair. It takes away all your stress. Not all of it, but a good amount of it.
Definitely go through the role-playing thing. Figure out what metrics make sense for you. If you need help, reach out. But
yeah,
there are only so many. So, like...
It's pretty simple, but
look at what makes sense for you. Look at the timing. Look at your clientele. Look at the services that you're doing.
And you might just need some help, really, to just be like, okay, so the percents are throwing me off. I've got my stuff. Can you guys help me, work through? Am I in a position where I should be doing this? I've eliminated my discounts. Where am I at? And sometimes you just need another eye on that to be like, yeah, here's what I would do.
And if you're a stylist, if you're a commission stylist, don't worry so much about the commission rate unless it's really low. Like if you're in the 30s.
Yeah, that would be.
Yeah, I'm sure it happens out there. But, get that up into the 40s or close to 50, and that's probably where it's going to be safe for the business and for you to grow.
Right.
It can't, it can in some circumstances. I've seen it where the business gets a lower and lower percent, but at a certain point it has to stop. It can't give you 100%. I was asked for 100% once in a meeting. Yep.
Yeah.
I had a stylist ask if they could have 100% commission, and I just stared blankly because I didn't.
How do you know how to answer that?
I didn't know if it was a joke.
Yeah, it was not.
I was like, how the fuck do I pay you 100% and still be here?
Yeah, you don't.
Doesn't make sense. Anyways, I digress. So yeah, run through, figure out your metrics, and do some role playing. Grab a friend and have them give you some.
That part's really important.
Objections or questions.
Yeah.
So we've done this with our whole team where, people had an objection. I had written down an objection on like a piece of paper, and then everyone picked one randomly, and so you had one person who said, "Hey, Todd, my price is going up. Next time you see me, it'll be this." And then on the paper was like, "But what about for kids cuts?" Or whatever. I forget, but I had about a dozen of them, and it was fun to go
it's
through.
Super fun.
Some of them people were like, "Oh yeah, definitely Diane's going to say that to me," or whoever, and it really helps you sort of. You can keep it light and fun, but you can also be like, you're planning so that you're a little quicker on your toes.
Right.
All right. So also, if you haven't raised your prices in over a year, just raise your prices. You have to, based on inflation. And we've done an episode on inflation, I think, where we sort of broke that stuff down. But you need to account for that stuff. And you don't have to account for it by going on Instagram and posting that all your supplies increased. Everyone knows.
Right.
Stop
Nobody
treating
even
people
wants to
like,
hear that
yeah,
anymore.
stop treating people
They're
like
over
children.
it.
They get it. You know how they get it? All their shit's gone up too.
Yeah.
They're just alive, so they fucking get it. Mm-hmm. It doesn't make you look smart. I don't know if was that rude to say?
No.
I think over-explaining comes from, and I used to do it. I was there. I'm not perfect. When I had my gym, I would over-explain everything
It comes
in
from
the
lack
beginning.
of confidence and,
Yes.
and really, honestly, at
A
that
lack of
point,
understanding.
I was going to say not knowing. Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
So you try to over-explain so it looks like you know, but you don't need to know everything. You
Well,
just need
so-
to know why you're doing it for you.
So when I started training back in the day, I tried to over-explain, and I don't know if it was, I don't remember now, honestly, but I don't know if it was based on confidence or if it was based on wanting to impress people or just sound smarter.
A little bit of both. Yeah.
But like somebody would come in and they're like, "Oh, my back's tight," and I'm like, "Point to it," and they point to it, and I'm sitting there waiting, right? I'm waiting because I know. So I'm like, "Oh, your quadratus lumborum. Let me show you how to stretch your quadratus lumborum." You probably can't say that. They call it the QL. It's a real muscle, but nobody gives a fuck.
Nope.
Just tell them how to get that pain gone.
Yeah. Gee.
Or you'd be like, "Did you know the sartorius is the longest muscle in the human body? Crosses 2 joints."
Cool fun fact, bro.
People are like, "What?" So do lunges? They don't give a shit.
Yeah. That's when you're like, stop talking. Just go.
And I think in this industry, people tend to want to over-explain stuff too. So it's just human nature. But dial that back. It doesn't help anyone. Just adding words. It's like when you write. I had somebody that helped me with some writing, or I was reading articles they had written about writing, and they said, you write, and then you go back and you remove like 20% of it. Because it's all words that you're using for no reason.
Right.
You're just
They need to
adding
go.
words.
I think too, we're in an industry where there's a lot of copying. So you saw somebody post the foils went up, whatever. She's like, I'm going to do that too. And
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Think for yourself. Be unique. Be individual. Don't just copy just to copy. If that doesn't make sense for you, don't do it.
All right. Should we dive into building a clientele?
Yeah, I have some notes here. So
Great.
I would
Me too.
love to help anybody that's looking to build their clientele.
So this is something we do with our staff. We run through this stuff frequently, and it works. So take it or leave it. Make it your own. Steal it. Borrow it if that makes you feel better.
It's yours.
That's foreshadowing. So I think the first step is to figure out who you are when you're building a clientele. That's very important and probably overlooked.
Yes.
I'm not talking about what service you want to do. You need to figure out who you are. Right? What do you want to be known for?
Yeah.
Again, not the service. This is a little bit different. Right?
It could be a little difficult to figure out.
Yep. But I think once you, and a lot of people, you just need some focus. A lot of the gurus out there are like, you need to niche down. Yeah, that's cool. That's a lot of words to say focus.
Yeah.
It's only 2 words. But hey, I shortened it to 1. So
Focus.
yeah, focus. Then from there, you can figure out what you want to do. And that's a big one. Mm-hmm. So you're not going to be everything to everybody. That's not how you're going to build a clientele. You are not Walmart or Target. Target's cool. Usually have the coffee right there.
Yes.
And then, so after you figure out what you want to do for services, because we're big fans of if you don't want to do something, don't do it. You're going to be miserable. So why do it?
I agree with that 100%. And I was not brought up in that in the beginning of this industry, but it's very important. If you do not enjoy doing those services, you should not do them because you will not be good at them.
Correct. So after you figure out who you are, what you want to do, you're going to figure out who you want to serve.
That's a big one.
And then
what type of client will make you happy?
Yeah.
So
So
look forward to your day.
we sort of break it down with a what, who, where, right? So what do you want to do? Who do you want to serve? And then by the where, I mean, where are those people? Because you need to know how to get in front of them. And I think it's not the same. I don't think. This is a actual fact. It's not the same for everybody. So for example, I did some stuff with my gym through Facebook. Never had luck. Never, ever. Never, ever, ever, ever had luck. Switched it up, started using Instagram, had a little bit of luck. Instagram was early on. It was still really new. This was like, what, 2011? I don't even remember. So it was back in the day. You have luck with Facebook.
I do.
Some of our staff has luck with Facebook.
Yeah.
Some of our staff gets tire kickers from Facebook.
Yeah.
So it depends on
my
where
clients
the people...
come from Facebook.
Yeah. Well, you're old.
Ha ha ha. Older. That was a good one.
Just kidding.
Walked right into that.
Just kidding. But no, it is important to understand, like, that is a good point to bring up age. Like, where are your people hanging out?
Right.
And not just social media, but like, are they at a park? Are they at a coffee shop?
Right.
Where are they hanging out? Where do they spend their time? And then figure out how to get in front of them. This is probably more than just going and sticking your business card on the community board at the local cafe.
Yeah.
That's not going to do anything for you.
Agreed.
There are 700,000 cards on that fucking board, and they all look the same. They're all the same. No one's coming to you. Stop doing that. So the next thing I want to bring up is approach everything with integrity.
I love that.
Just being real with people from the jump is going to have an effect on the relationship and in what direction the relationship goes. Just be honest. Right?
Yeah.
Do you want to go into any of the stuff you have, or do you want me to just keep running through
I'm
my
with you.
notes?
The relationship is what I think. I have two things that I think that are really important. I think
I do have a whole list here, so I
do
can...
good hair, totally cool. But you have to. It's a non-negotiable. You have to connect with these people beyond even hair stuff, because the relationship is what they remember. And then they start coming to you and they just can't wait to hang out with you, and the hair becomes secondary.
Right.
And that's where I think the magic happens. But that also, circling back, the relationship starts with a really good foundational consultation. Like, if you're not having strong consultations with your clients, you're not really able to form the hair relationship and do that and then have the great conversations. So I think for building a strong clientele, it's always checking in with them with the hair, what's working, what's not. And that really becomes where they feel special. It's not like they're just going, oh, just do the same thing. Hold on. Okay, we can do the same thing, but what about this? I saw this cool new trend. Like, you're always trying to take care of them. And majority of people don't do that. They're just like, okay, I got you already mixed up. Here we go. So before you know it, that client's leaving you because they don't feel like you're taking care of them anymore.
You're not.
Right. So you have to take care of them. They're in there for the hair. You have that consultation, and then you can get into, what'd you do last week? And oh my God, I can't wait to talk about all this. But they're paying you for their hair. So you've got to consult on that every single time.
Yeah, agreed. That's a huge one at our salon too. It's no one's paying you to feel like they're sitting on an assembly line.
Right.
So you have to run through that. Like I think another important thing on the consultation is it's got to be every single client, every single time. And you
have to listen.
So, and you have friends and family that it's probably easy for you to be like, I'll just do whatever, or they let me do whatever. Not at our salon. That wouldn't fly.
I'm sure my clients say, well, they always tell me do whatever, but that doesn't mean
you're still going to run through the fucking consultation.
Yes. So I was
you're
just
not just going to start.
Do whatever you want. And it's like, okay, well, hey, what about this or that? Or I was thinking this, and they might say yes to all of it, but I still like engage with them so that they feel like there was a part that they're part of that.
It's important. You have, like, it's a human being. First of all, you have to treat them with integrity, right?
Yes.
So everyone gets the same treatment across the board. And we've seen mistakes, and don't get me wrong, we make mistakes, right? Mm-hmm. Obviously, everyone does. But we've seen somebody forget to talk about the haircut, color the hair, and then chop it off. Mm-hmm. Why? No consultation.
Right. I joke about that too. And I get you get excited.
Or you got a half consultation.
Yeah. I think the other thing that's really important, and I talk about this often at my salon, like when you're coming through the front door at hello, you leave your baggage at the front door and you come in, whatever your alter ego is as your hair pro self, create that avatar and be that person. What I find most often, and it's the biggest compliment I get all the time, is my energy. Like, your energy, you're always so excited. Like, I may not always be in the best mood or have the best day, but I I almost thrive on those bad days of bringing more energy into my whatever client I'm seeing, or like I steal their energy. But showing up and like being excited and talking about new stuff, like people want to hear that. Like if you're sitting there and they're like, oh, what's new? What's trendy? You're like, who the fuck cares? Well, you might want to reevaluate what you're doing on that day, because you should care. We're in a creative industry. It's always growing. It's always changing. It's always innovating itself. So, take a look at yourself and be like, all right, what do I need to do to inspire myself to get excited for the clients that come in? And once you start doing that, then you start like, okay, I need more clients that are like X, Y, and Z. And now you start building to get more of those people. But you've got to show up. You've got to be excited, have energy.
Yeah, for sure. And that's a good point too on, you didn't use the word avatar, but you really need to dial in who you're trying to speak to and look for more of those people.
Yeah. Who's making your day? Get more of them. Ask them for referrals. If that's your favorite client, be like, I love doing your hair. If you have friends like you, I want to do their hair because I enjoy your time.
Yeah, read the pumpkin plan. We talked about that before, but that's exactly what you're doing is you're looking for your best pumpkins or your best clients, and then you're pruning your garden to only grow the best pumpkins.
Yeah.
That's the basis of the
And you're
book.
in charge of that. We had a staff member the other day. She had a new client, checked her out. They like left, whatever. So, I was like, how was it? And she's like, she was not my jam. And she's like, and I'm like, did you rebook her? And she's like, I forgot, but actually I don't want to rebook her. She's not for me. And I looked at the staff and she looked at me like, don't be mad. And I was like,
don't be mad.
I was like, that's great that you recognize it. You don't have to service every client. You did that person's hair, looked amazing. But if that's not a good relationship for you, then yeah, you did exactly what you were supposed to do. Like if she wants to come back in, she can see someone else. Maybe you do build on that if she does, but you don't have to make everybody be your client either. If that's not fun for you, that's okay.
That's another major mistake is the scarcity mindset, where people think that they have to have every client.
Right. I think the light bulb went off in her head. She's like, you're right. Like
No, when you're building your clientele, you only want the client. Now, I'm not saying turn people away when you're building your clientele, because you never know what opportunity is going to come. So a person might not seem like your jam, right? Do their hair, give it a shot.
Try it out. Yeah, that's like in a situation. Try it out, right?
And then if they're not, that's totally fine. No big deal. Move
you could
on.
even say to that client, I'm gonna reschedule you. I think you'd be a better fit with so and so. I think that like what you're looking to do, they could accomplish it better than me. There's nothing wrong with doing that. I've done that many of times, and the client's like, thanks. I'm like, yeah, I don't feel like there's a fit here, and I can't achieve what you're looking for.
Sometimes there's not somebody at our salon. We send them to another salon.
Yeah, I've done that too. Mm-hmm.
For sure. You don't have to have every single fucking person in your chair. You can't.
Yeah, if you want to talk about like,
anyways.
what is it? Community over cult. What's the one that people say? You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. I always say the wrong thing and I don't know.
Anyway, truly, I've had people say recently, like what we're doing in our salon is really trying to help.
Culture?
I don't know. Anyway, we're out there for everyone. I will help build every single person. I don't care. There's enough hairs to go around for everybody.
There are so many.
And I only want the hairs that I want to do.
The next thing I want to point out on my list is that you have to have patience. So when you're building a clientele, this is not something that's going to happen overnight. We've built some people fairly quickly.
Yeah.
Like 6 months, a year.
Yeah. And that's quick.
And
this is a long game. You got to literally continue.
So you have to focus, and you've got to do the niche down thing, and you've got to have integrity, and you've got to have patience, and you've got to not be sidetracked by all of the BS out there on social media and at other salons or whatever, because then what happens is you start doing something, and before you've given it an honest effort, meaning enough time to work, you're like, oh, this person's doing this, that's what I should do.
Yeah.
Now
like, look, a butterfly. Like,
now you're starting over.
Right.
You're not building off of anything because you haven't built anything at all.
I love when you'll say like, don't take your foot off the gas. And
never.
I think what happens is as you do start to build, you have your busy weeks, which you stop promoting yourself. You stop putting yourself out there. And then you have your slow week and you're like, ugh. But the thing is, you need to promote yourself and keep building in your busiest weeks.
Because you never know what's going to happen.
Right. And because your busiest weeks, then if you're still promoting yourself, you're getting yourself out there doing, that's going to fill in your slow weeks. You have to continually put in the effort. And ask yourself if you truly are doing that, because if you're not, that's on you.
Right.
Get back on track, get excited, get inspired, figure out where that comes from for you.
Another thing I have here, so in my notes, is that novelty. So switching things up is a big deal. And I know in this industry, a lot of people get into just their routine, their habit. They do the same exact thing. They come in with their coffee, they plop it down, they go to the same station. So that's what I was going to bring up for an example. So at our salon, we don't have set stations. Like not even Jen owns a state. Well, you own them. We own them all. But so
I'm always moving.
Yeah, our staff, and we do this for a few reasons. But when you're done with your shift, you pack up your stuff and you clean everything out.
Yeah.
And we do that to keep everything clean. But we also do it for novelty because someone else might sit in that station tomorrow and you might be in a different one. Mm-hmm. So that's just one way to keep things novel for clients. And I hear people all the time like, oh, we're over here today. Like,
they love it.
Because they like it. Yeah,
or
it's
where
exciting.
They sit, they're like, I didn't notice that over there. Like it's
right. You get a whole
just,
different view, and you have to realize that it's about the client. I know it's about the staff as well, but it's about the client.
Agreed.
So creating excitement for the next visit.
Oh, that's a good one.
If you can create excitement where somebody wants, so they're in the salon with you, and they're already excited. They're getting their hair done. They're looking and feeling great. What next? What happens next? They want to come back and see you.
And not always, most often, I'm always like, next time you come in, we should do this, or we should try this, or whatever.
Hey, we're getting this, whatever, product. So next time, I think you'd be the perfect candidate for it.
Yeah, if I have a summer client, I'm talking about for their next appointment in the fall, what we're going to add in for lowlights. I'm seeing this trend right now. When you come in for your fall appointment, we're going to add in this. And like, oh, I can't wait for that. And they're so happy with how they look today, but they can't wait for that. And that also gives you a little insurance that they're keeping that appointment because you've put something in their head that you're doing for them at that appointment.
Right. So I had, and we kind of touched on this, but avoid copying what you see other people doing.
Yeah.
You need to come up with a plan. You need to come up with like a marketing strategy for yourself and what you want to do. And you don't have to recreate the wheel, but you've got to figure out, like I mentioned earlier, where your clients are. And then so if, for example, your clients are, whatever, they're hanging out at a coffee shop. You've written your avatar. What do these people do? They get their kids on the school bus and then they meet over here for coffee, whatever. If you're posting on Instagram and they're not on Instagram, they're not going to see it.
Right.
So that's a fail, waste of time. And I know people are like, go to Instagram's where it's at. Do all your marketing on Instagram. False, dude. If your fucking clients aren't on Instagram,
you have to build a wide foundation for this stuff, right? You should be
I'm
posting.
not saying don't post on Instagram.
Post on Instagram if that's where you want to put your stuff for sure.
Have people have a place to go check your work.
Yes, it's
like
you're
into
your working business card, right? Mm-hmm. So it's always evolving because you're putting your stuff on there. You meet someone at the coffee shop, you give out your business card, or you don't. You however connect. But then they might then check your Instagram and then they're like, oh, this looks great. I'm going to make this appointment. But that first real connect is in real time. Don't forget, people, we want to meet you. Like,
you're not doing their hair virtually.
Real life connections. So.
Right. Also avoid copying because I think there are too many this is the way to do it. And that's just not true. So there's
so many ways.
There's too much out there. So if you copy also, how I look at it is you can only ever be a second place watered down version of whoever you're copying.
Right.
Because it's not you.
And here's the thing, I'll turn that into a positive. Don't copy, but get inspiration from it. And then like you just said, make it your own. So if you're looking at that, you're like, well, I copy all the time. Now hold on, do you? Because maybe you find your inspiration, but then you make it your own. You're not copying. You just got inspired by that person. That's amazing, right? But if you're just doing the same thing, no, make it your own. What makes it unique to you? Why do I want to see you do it? Why do I want to sit with you?
Exactly. So I only have a couple more things on here. So one of them we already kind of touched on was get good at explaining things simply.
Yes.
People appreciate that. Keep all your BS technical jargon terms to yourself. No one cares about your scientific approach.
Right.
Shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
And again, do some clients care?
Yeah, there's
Sure.
going to be a few.
Yeah.
I have a few, but
Right.
you know who they are. I only
take it to that level when it's
Yeah.
appropriate. Don't lead with that.
I
Because
save
you're
that.
making me fucking yawn.
I agree. I only use that. I save it for the client that's like, my last stylist toned my hair all the time and I hated it. So you can't tone my hair. And I'm like, okay, hold up. Let's go back. And I'm not
Hold
gonna
up.
I'm not gonna diss your old stylist because I don't know who they are, but I'm gonna explain to you in today's world why we may need to do that and
diss
what's gonna happen. And then we'll go through that because now I have to re-educate this client, right? She had a bad experience and all of a sudden the bad experience means nobody can ever do it. So I've got to explain.
Well, yeah,
that.
obviously there are times, but it's
That's what
it's
yeah.
when the client is letting you know they're interested in the information is then when, in my opinion,
You
you
give
should
it.
bring it. Yeah.
And the one that don't care, they just don't care.
Yeah. So the last couple of things are all sort of related, but learn to have conversations, but don't overtalk. That kind of
Love that.
goes, back.
That's an important
Learn to listen.
Yes.
Actually listen, not think about what formula you're mixing up
I
when you
say
go
this
over
all
the
the time.
fucking color bar.
Don't be thinking about the toner when you're talking about the color of the highlights. Listen to what they want. Look at the pictures. The toner comes later. We don't know how the hair's going to lift.
I don't
You
even know
can't-
how people formulate toners
you
before
can't.
they start.
You can't.
It's not
you
a fucking
cannot
thing.
do that. Do not do that.
I don't even do color, and I understand
Shampoo that
So
shit out of
basic.
the hair. Then you can talk about a toner.
And then the last thing I had on my list was to be on time.
Yes.
I think that's undervalued. And
I agree with you 100%. And it's a huge pet peeve of mine. Get there before your client. Do not have your client there before you. Have your station prepared, prepped, whatever you need
Clean.
to do. If you like to eat breakfast, whatever, arrive 30 minutes before. But that station, like I re-clean my base in the morning because I want that to be pristine when they get there. And I want to be ready to arrive.
Right.
And then I'm sitting up front hanging and they're like, oh, were you waiting for me? I'm like, nope, I'm just all clean. I'm just waiting till you got here. No big deal. Like, good morning.
I wait for people. Of
Yeah.
course I'm waiting for you.
They're
You have
like,
an appointment.
here I am. So, but I'm like ready. Like I'm excited to see them.
I just think for me, it's my, like you said, it's a pet peeve of mine when people aren't on time.
Yeah,
It just shows a total lack of respect.
I agree.
Now, I understand that shit's going to happen, but we all know the stylists that just show up late or they're in the back room. So that to me is the same as late.
Yeah.
Unless your client is early.
Right.
Because we all know that we
Yeah.
have those clients that show up fucking 45 minutes early. I have them.
I do too.
Right? So I understand if you're out back because you're on lunch break or whatever, totally a different story. It's not what I'm saying. But I am going to say that, like, when you have an appointment, I'm always confused when I go to, like, the dentist or something. Like, you knew you booked me at 9. Why is it 9:20 and I'm still sitting out
Yeah.
here?
That drives me crazy.
Yeah, and it comes across as you just don't care that much.
Yeah. If you want to build a real clientele and we're in a service industry, that every client wants to feel special. And that would mean being greeted on time, happily. You're out there waiting for them. Your station is clean.
Yeah,
all of those things.
imagine greeting your own clients. I mean, I know that's what we do, but I've been at salons where it's,
Yeah, no.
who are you here to see?
If the receptionist has to keep, if you have a receptionist
Who-
and they
who
have
you
to
here
keep
to
coming
see?
in the back to
What?
get you, that shows that client that you don't give two fucks about them. You should be like, oh, Susie comes at 12. I'm going to get out there at 11:55.
Yeah,
Whatever
know.
that looks
Why
like.
are
You know
out
they're
there?
coming out. Yeah, go greet them. And a lot of people have a ton of anxiety coming into a salon. It's not always the easiest thing to do. So if you can be out there and greet them, you're making their experience better. That's how you build the clientele. You're treating them amazing every time. Every time.
Let's end on that note.
Okay.
That was a good one. Treat everyone
Amazing. Every
amazing
time.
every time. And that's it for us.
Holler
This
if
was
you
a
need
long
some help.
podcast. 49 minutes.
Wow.
Holy smokes.
We can talk.
Check us out. Follow, subscribe,
Comment.
call us to say hi. I don't know.
Yeah.
And check out PingPong, marketing and design.
Ping pong.
Bye.
Bye.